what you're about to see, most people will never see in their entire life. If I could have my safety crew take their positions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, as we're gonna go for a few different locations, I wanna give a little bit of explanation, but the story I'm about to share with you, tighten your seatbelts. Oh, New Hampshire, you don't even have to wear a seatbelt, never mind. All right, so this right here, this is a framed newspaper article, and in this newspaper article, it features a particular coin press and a particular gentleman who is making the first American Silver Eagle coins. You guys heard of the American Silver Eagle coin? Yeah. So in this picture, we see 1986 American Silver Eagle coins. And like I said, we see a coin press and we see a gentleman making those first coins. Well, guess what? The press that's in this picture is right here. Well, wait, there's more. And the guy who's operating it in this picture, Albert, can you come on down? This is the guy in the picture and the press in the picture. He made the first American Silver Eagle coins in the San Francisco Mint. He was the youngest press operator in the US Mint. And here's the press he was using, and we got them both. Can you believe that? Is that incredible?
I just gained a little weight.
He actually doesn't look that much different.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, for right now, these two presses are in kind of our back storage area, because this press is meant for a double strike so that it has a proof-like appearance. And so we have to outfit it with certain things in order to use it. And so we are going to scrape and clean and paint and beautify these machines so that they will look brand new in the future. However, at the moment, we did not have enough time to do that before you came, but you might have heard that we bought these two as well as two other presses that used to belong to the US Mint. These ones making Silver Eagles, and those ones making billions of dimes. And we bought all four presses and 30,000 pounds of additional spare parts, spare motors and equipments. And we bought out, basically we bought out another mint that shut down. And the short version of the story is that this other mint in Las Vegas, you might have heard about this buyout, they bought these coining presses from the US Mint many years ago because the US Mint decided to buy these German presses, American. Let's go figure. Anyway, they're like 10% faster. I think they needed to waste as much money as possible so they would get the same amount the next year. You probably heard about that. So this Las Vegas Mint, they were making most of the brass casino tokens that the casinos in Las Vegas and all around the world were using. And that if you went to the casino and you used one of those tokens, they were probably made by these machines and this mint that we bought out. Well, a couple years ago, the casinos decided to go digital. They got rid of the brass tokens. Good crowd. Yeah, that's true. So it just so happens that that they went to where you stick your credit card in the slot machine instead of the brass tokens. And so these Las Vegas guys decided, you know what? Things were going to dry up. You know, the owners were like, 70 years old, and their top press operator was like, I'm going to retire. You know, he's a little younger than that. But basically, they said, okay, well, we're going to sell this stuff off. And so they decided to put it up for sale. And at precisely the time that they put it up for sale, I just happened to see it. And it gets even more unique. And I meant to go way faster than this. But I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can, but there are so many thousands of miracles that have happened for us that make me feel that we're on the right track. And so these guys sold us all of their leftover things and all the things that they had, their presses and all their spare parts. We probably bought, I would think that if you had to buy all these things new, you would have paid $5 million. But we bought it for $250,000. And it costs $80,000 just to transport it here. So, but then the last little piece is that we were originally going to have, which is a wonderful company that's made a lot of great stuff for us. They were going to make us special equipment that was going to auto feed our blanks so that it could go at full cyclic rate to stamp SilverBitz. However, the die maker that was going to do that was having he's a little bit older, and he was having some different, health challenges. And so basically I realized that it was going to be a little harder to get these devices made. And so we needed a way to be able to auto feed our product through at the full speed of the press. And it just so happened I started searching, and whenever I looked online at coining presses, they would always be a single strike mode where you'd put one ounce blank in there, you close a window, and then you press the buttons, ka-chunk, it would stamp one. The idea of that drives me crazy, doing one at a time. But when I saw these for sale and I saw the pictures, I saw a tube that looked like it was filled with blanks. And I thought, wait a second, does this thing have an auto feeder? So I called these Las Vegas guys and I said, is this an auto feed? And can you send me some more pictures of the inside of it? He said, yes, it is an auto feed, but no, I won't send you any pictures. Come here if you want to look at it. So we flew to Las Vegas. That being said, these 4 presses that have the capability to auto feed at the full speed of the press, like a machine gun, they're unicorns. There's only a few in the world. And the only ones that were available, we have them. Yeah! So, basically the last piece is I went to tell them, I said, hey, I have a different solution. And they really like us a lot. And they're really awesome over there. And the owner is an amazing guy. And I said to him, I said, I think we have this alternate solution. And so, then he told me that the guy that specifically would invent this thing for us that does automation, he said, he's got a little bit of health challenge, so he's working less hours. And so he said, but he's going to be really happy to hear. So we went in the back, and his top 2 die makers and the owner of the company, and I told them about how we locked a deal to get these coin presses. And literally, they were so happy. It was like 3 70-year-old guys all crying and hugging each other. And everyone was so happy to hear that we got these presses, and they all wanted to see it running. They said, I've never seen one of those in action. Note, neither did I. I never saw one of these in real life. And when you look videos, you won't find videos of it. It's kept very secret. If you try to find footage of those auto feeders, it's very secretive. So anyway, incredible, absolute find. Super happy. They still make lots of stuff for us, but they're so happy that we have a solution for this, and they're very happy for us. So we're about to move on. Any questions? All right, let's go to the next thing. So we have these inductotherm melting furnaces that they made for us. We had to buy them 6 months ago. Cost $500,000. These furnaces each use more electricity than 20 houses. Just one of them. But silver doesn't melt, Dave? That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. These furnaces will melt 5,000 ounces of silver per hour.
That's crazy.
How many ounces are you melting now per hour, Dave?
About 500. So 10 times as much. But also, this is a lot easier to run. What we have now is a little more labor intensive. So these are not plumbed or electrified, and we don't have the air vent hoods above them yet, but we will. This power supply, this incredible equipment, I'm extremely happy to have. This is incredible stuff. There's not a lot of these in the world, and we have them. All right, are you ready to move on? These cardboard cutouts represent machines and equipment that is on its way here we did kind of like the McDonald's brothers. Before McDonald's went to hydrogenated, fake whatever materials, the original concept, they actually believed in natural or real ingredients. But that part of their concept was to only make a few things, but to make your food in less than 30 seconds. And so we did a kind of a similar thing, and I didn't even know that they did it. It just so happened that back before I went to the Special Forces, I was in the regular Army, and I had this platoon sergeant when I was a Patriot missile system operator, and he had us draw in sand on the ground, the trucks, and we would go around, and he had me and another guy doing a drill around it. And some of the other guys like kind of were snickering and laughing at us, like they were like, ha ha, we don't have to do that. But they didn't want Sergeant Gonzalez to hear them do that, because then they were going to get in trouble. But it turned out that Sergeant Gonzalez liked me and another guy, and he thought we were high performers. So he was giving us an opportunity, and he had us practice this stuff in a sand drill. Well, the next day, we actually broke the record for the fastest EPP crew drill that had ever been done in Fort Bliss, Texas. And I remembered that years later. And so I decided I wanted us to draw out this whole place in chalk and rehearse doing the production process, then erase it and adjust it again and time it and see how we could get it to be the fastest and the most efficient. And then Justin, one of our awesome salesmen back there, you can actually see him because he's so tall, you can see if any difference. And so Justin was like, hey man, you should see the movie Founder, because the McDonald's brothers, they did that. And so I watched it and I was like, oh, that's wicked awesome. And so it turned out that in that movie, they drew in chalk on the tennis court their little burger factory, and that back in those days, they broke the records. No one ever heard of getting the food made that fast. Well, it also turns out that Dick McDonald, the kind of brains behind this mass production process, his grave is right down the road from here. And I found that and I was like, oh my goodness. So I went there and I talked to him like spiritual stuff. And I put some of our SilverBitz on his grave and I was like, hey, maybe you're going to join us and help us. Now they're like, okay, Dave, now. Well, you knew I was crazy already. Tell me that in 6 months or a year. Like, okay, never mind. I'll take the $100 million. Okay, so that being said, we did it here, and these cardboard cutouts are basically representative of that. So we don't have all the stuff here, but we have tuned this process. And so with that being said, I'm going to show you the next things that we have. These two rolling mills aren't just any rolling mills. Our story is so ridiculous, you couldn't even make this stuff up. It's so incredible. So first of all, this is a 20 horsepower 8x10 roller, which is obviously way bigger than what we had. And then this one is a 6x10, and it's, so basically the shortened version is this is a breakdown mill, and it does the majority of rolling the ingots, rolls them out till they become longer and thinner. And then this one is a finish mill, and it just gives them the final kiss of accuracy, so this is more accurate. But these rolling mills are amazing machines, and you probably wouldn't guess looking at this that this thing's 75 years old. But these machines last for hundreds of years. The US Mint is still using the same rolling mills for almost 200 years. All they did was they changed from steam power running it to electric power running it. So these last almost forever as long as you can remachine new parts. But what's even more interesting about these two rolling mills is, you know who used to own them? It's so ridiculous. You ever heard of a company called Engelhard?
Yeah.
You guys heard of Engelhard? Legendary silver refinery from the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. When the silver wasn't in the coins anymore, these guys were in position to capitalize on the market. Just like we are now about to capitalize in this new market situation. And so these rolling mills used to belong to Engelhard, and now we've got them. Amazing machines. These machines are so incredible. I have dreamed for 14 years of having something like this. And now we have it. So, all right. So thank you. Let's carry on. we got all these conveyors out of this Las Vegas buyout. We were going to spend like $30,000 on conveyors, but instead we got these for free as part of buying those. So we're going to use them. So as the product goes over here to the blanking, and then it comes over here, more weighing, washing, you'll probably notice these weigh stations occur about 9 different times in the process. We have to continuously weigh the product before it goes to the next station in order to gather the data and to ensure security of the items. And then also note that we will be having a security checkpoint over here where our bar is, along with the security guard, every day, all day. So, as the product goes down the line here, we have annealing process. We anneal the silver, we quench the silver, we wash the silver, and we dry the silver, and then we weigh the silver again. So now, here we go. The next thing, as we're getting closer and closer, these 2 tumblers. Once again, we wished we had tumblers like this. For 14 years we wanted them. These tumblers cost approximately $100,000 each new, but the company that sold them to us was able to sell them these 2 machines refurbished, like new condition, warranted for $30,000 each instead of $100,000. With a warranty, like new condition, and it's also a highly reputable company. These guys have been in business for a long time. They're tremendously helpful. We can't wait to turn these on. They're going to vibrate so hard. You're gonna want to take it home, or you're not. I shouldn't even make that joke. Can't even make that joke. Okay, I'm going to stop. But what's also great about these machines is, once again, the current machines that we have now, our current tumblers, are 1/10 the size, and you have to remove all the media out of it and separate the silver from the media, then put it all back in. These machines automatically separate the silver from the media for us. And so the same single guy that can operate one of our little tumblers can operate both of these tumblers and do 25 times as much per hour. Same amount of labor. What?
Were these used to do silver?
So were these previously? I don't know what they did before they got refurbished and sold to us, but that they can be used for many things. Small parts, metal parts primarily. Silver is very rare, so it is probable that these were not used for silver, since so few places do silver compared to metal parts. But this can be used for a multitude of things. Does that answer your question?
Did you happen to see these on the internet for sale?
So we saw lots. There's lots of used ones on the internet. They're a lot of money. The company that makes them quoted me about $100,000 each. And then when we talked to their local dealer, he also quoted me, roughly $100,000 with a 6-month lead time. And then he called me back later on that week, and he said, "Dave, you're not going to believe this. I just had 2 Swaco 14 cubic foot tumblers come in, and they're in great shape. I can refurbish them and sell them to you for $30,000 each." And I said, "Yes, please." So that's the story with these. Are you guys ready for the next thing?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's come on down this way. Over here, these 2 coining presses. These coining presses were used to make billions of dimes at the U.S. Mint. And so these are amazing machines. And when I saw a picture and I saw this, when I saw that, I realized that this was not like the other single strike presses. There was something special about these machines. And so we flew out to Las Vegas. Note, we went out there once to look at these machines. Then we went out again with the whole production crew to pack up all the machines that we bought. And I promise you, it was horrible. They hated every minute of it. And make sure that because the salesmen are here, so we make sure we make the salesmen know, because they didn't go on this trip, that it was horrible. We hated every minute of it. The dinners at these fancy restaurants were not wonderful. It was a grueling 2 weeks.
Worst Italian restaurant ever.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to come back to New Hampshire restaurants.
Oh, that blackjack.
All right, so now that we're here, if I could have everyone trying to gather, maybe get a little bit more separation on that side. If I could have my safety crew take their positions. If I could have you come out, Roy. Come on down. All right, we got Duck, Fabian, Steven, Albert. So we are going to do a little demonstration for you. And what you're about to see, most people will never see in their entire life. I never got to see this until a few weeks ago. And I searched videos, countless videos, and in fact, I'll just go a little further into this. Most of what this operation has been built on, that minting silver coins or making silver rounds, as it's technically called when you're a private mint, most of the way things are done is very secretive. And you'll have a lot of trouble finding a book telling you how to do this. And it's very hard to find. And so I found this one video, which is black and white footage, 1920s US Mint, black and white footage. And it's a 14-minute video that has no audio, but whoever shared it dubbed the most horrible music onto it. And so I have literally watched this video probably thousands of times just to study everything that I see in there to try to understand what they're doing. And most of this operation is modeled off of that 14-minute video. And one of the things that we see in that video is we see about a second and a half of what's on the inside of this, like a second and a half. And that second and a half, I've watched it for like 10 hours. Like if you add up the second and a half, as many times as I've seen it. Yeah, so with no further ado, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let me get this started.
All right, and I'll ask that everyone please stay where you're located.
I have it. I let slip. It's awesome.
I'm just gonna make sure no one's back here. So there's no guards on these because we're working on them, so we don't want anyone to approach. So these happen to be brass casino tokens. Unfortunately, we cannot give them out because they belong to the particular mint that we bought and the casino. So they were nice enough to let us leave the die collar, the fingers, and the other components in place so we could get the machine here and make sure it still runs after transport, and so we could convert it for our purposes. So we can't give these out, and of course this is not what we're gonna make with it, but what we're gonna make with it, oh, that's still slow, okay, it's just slowing. So right now we are making a stamped single-sided SilverBitz. Our product's stamped single-sided, And when we were going to have this device made for us to be able to auto feed, it was still going to be stamped on one side. But now, with these presses, not only do we have full cyclic rate, but also we will have coined on two sides a fully coined SilverBitz product. Which is obviously superior to a single-sided stamped product. So these machines can produce approximately 6,000 coins per hour each, which is pretty good. So, do we have enough silver? You can't have enough silver. More silver, please. So, we like silver. We do have a pretty good amount of silver, but we want a lot more. But we want a lot more, not just for us, but for the hands of people far and wide across the country and around the world. We want to get SilverBitz spread into the hands of people, Americans, people in all different countries, and I will know that we have done our jobs when people are finding SilverBitz in between their couch cushions, in the ashtray, on the ground, in the corner of the room. When they sweep the floor, they find a bunch of SilverBitz. They're like, hey, look, honey, I found a silver bit in the dirt. And that when the SilverBitz are just all over the place, then we will know that we have done our jobs. All right. Okay. So
SilverBitz on the grave, right, of the Federal Reserve. Then.
And the Fed. And folks, because there is a central bank digital slave currency coming, and my answer to the central bank digital slave currency is SilverBitz. SilverBitz, you can hand it to a person in trade for goods and services, regardless of the condition of the financial system or internet access. That's what we're here for, and so that's what we're going to do.
I assume the ones in the mints making government coins millions a day, they're not doing them one at a time.
Because they have this kind.
Yeah, so I would guess most of them are that, but you just couldn't.
In the U.S. Mint, they're auto like this. But a lot of the private mints have single strike mode for their 1 ounce product. But because we're making a 1/10 ounce, and we want to make, I know it drives me crazy to think about it, but because we're making 10 times as many pieces per ounce, we need this. We can't do one at a time. So that's the point. And so, yeah, these are unicorns. Most people don't have them. You wish you had one of these in your living room. I'll sell you this one for $50 million. That's 50. Even then, I might not do it.